I am very excited to bring on our next guest. In his playing career, he spent a couple years in the SJHL for the Melfort Mustangs before playing 4 years of ACHA for Lindenwood University. After that, he actually played a year abroad for the Melbourne Mustangs in the Australian International Hockey League. Last year, he was the assistant coach of the Mission City Outlaws, and this year, he's been the head coach of the Park Islanders of the VIJHL. Super excited to bring on Jake Ebner. Jake, how are you doing?
Good, Ellie. How you doing, bud?
Great, great.
Lovely to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Love the intro.
Yeah, he's hyped you up there for a while there. That was probably the longest intro we've had.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'll take it.
One of the longer ones, yeah. well, we have the playing career and the coaching career, which usually we don't have as long of a playing career with our interviews. So maybe we'll just kind of start there. I mean, obviously I know you're from Poco, but
Yeah.
What the beginning of your hockey journey as a player? Growing up, where did you play, and just kind of how did your career progress from there?
Yeah, minor hockey started in Port Coquitlam. Was there. My first year of rep was Adam A. Back then it was Adam minor major, so you only played in your one birth year. Pretty crazy group of players we had. Devin Dubinick was actually one of our goalies.
Oh wow!
Didn't know at the time but then obviously he moved to Calgary after that season, and then obviously he became who he was. So he was one of three goalies, right. All played junior A or higher eventually. So pretty high class there. And then one of our player and friend that moved to Poco that year was a fourth rounder to LA as well. So I think once we all got to Bantam, my second year, it's Poco, small association. I think 12 of the 18 skaters played junior A or higher.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and there's a couple of guys, there was a few guys older than us too, so our street hockey games were quite competitive.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Is it to rip it up?
Oh yeah. Take over the tennis courts in Southside Port Coquitlam and at our hockey nets.
Nice. And then when you got to Bantam, and you kind of start having to choose where to play. Did you just play all of your midget in Poco before you moved on to junior, or how did the transition to junior kind of happen for you?
Well, after Bantam, my spring coach was the head coach of the Poco Buckaroos, who's the junior B team at the time, and I thought I was going to make it. Going into my first junior camp, I was so inexperienced that I wasn't prepared for it. And yeah, I played 1 year midget A, AAA in Poco, and then from there I went to Granby Steelers for 2 years. And Aldo Bruno was still the coach then, and he's still there now, so he's been there for quite some time. Yeah, Kyle Turris was on my team my second year there, and
that's cool.
Yeah, he was 14, and just you could tell he was going. Kid's shot was incredible back then too. We had a good run that year. We were up 3-0. It was North Delta Flyers at the time, and then they came back, forced us Game 7, and then we were playing the Ice Hawks in the semifinals. We were down 0-3, forced to Game 7, and then eventually lost. So a lot of games that year, which is a good experience for moving forward to the SJHL in the next year.
So what did that jump look like even back then?
Yeah, definitely much different. But the thing with the SJHL is you're allowed 10, 20-year-olds, right? So even though I'm born in October, so 18 starting out and then turning 19. But there's some big boys in that league for sure. It's definitely a more defensive league than the BCHL at the time. But you're playing, most teams pretty much dress 10, 20-year-olds too. So it's an older league in that sense. And they're just full-grown men at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we were playing Yorkton, and from the year previous, the player was suspended. His name was Barry Sparvier. And his first game back was in Melfort. And it was 20, 25 games into the season. And he's just the scariest man I've ever seen at the time. I don't think he touched the puck in warm up. He was just at the red line the whole time.
I bet you the league looked a little different from back then, eh?
Yeah,
than compared as now.
For sure, yeah. I think the BCHL. BCHL was just like a cop, probably more like the dub at the time. Just big guys but a lot of skill as well. And I mean, that tough league for sure. Obviously nowadays it's more based on skill and speed. I'm sure there's still lots of big hits and everything, but just the guys back then, it was so much different for sure. Now that I've been coaching in the league for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owen?
Yeah. What was the actual experience like living in Melfort? I mean, I'm sure that was pretty different from obviously growing up in Poco.
Yeah, it was definitely quite a change. I actually had 2 close friends playing there the year prior. That's kind of how I got there, and I drove with one of them my first year. So it's like leaving BC for the first time, and then you get into Calgary, Alberta area, and you drive through Alberta, and then it's like there's absolutely nothing for the next 8 hours. You're just like, where are we going? And then you pass Saskatoon, you get near Saskatoon, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a decent sized city, and then you drive by that in like 5 minutes, and then you're back to looking at nothing. Melfort's like 6,500 people when I played.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a little bit of getting used to, but once we got started, everything just becomes comfortable. We were fortunate enough to have quite a few guys there early on, so we were skating pretty early, just like our own skates, just scrimmaging. So like 2-3 times a week, and then we played in a 3-on-3 tournament in Saskatoon. So it was easy to like just transition and just be playing hockey every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess having. Sorry, you go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, how did your SJ career kind of continue after that? Like you get to Melfort, and how'd it go? Like how'd it treat you?
So first practice after the team was signed, myself and my 2 roommates showed up late for the first practice. And then we ended up getting bag skated a bit, like the whole team, and then we were stretching, and our coach is going around the circle, and he's like, just so you guys know, we skated because oh no, you know what? I'm actually wrong. They were skating before we even got there. So he was bag skating the whole team until all of us were on the ice. So our coach loved to bag skate us. So we do this one. It's called Sweet 16. Ellie, I did it a little bit with you guys, but centers on one goal line, wingers on the boards, D goalies on the other goal line, and then wingers on the other side. And you go down and back twice, and then it's a rotate shift. So one time rounds 8, 2 times 16. They were at Sweet 64 by the time I got on the ice. And my buddy was a 20-year-old, and he's eating breakfast in the stands. So I even ended up getting up to, I think, Sweet 24 myself. So it was hell. So anyway, back to the stretching part. He's announcing all 3 of us are out of the first game day lineup, and I'm like, fuck's sakes, just got here. Like, how does this happen? Luckily, he gave us an opportunity, an exhibition and stuff to earn our spot back. So I played the home opener.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least you didn't miss the home opener there.
Yeah, no, it was cool because first time like with the lights off and all that kind of stuff. So it felt like at the time the show, right?
Yeah,
it started off pretty good, and then I was kind of in and out of the lineup here and there. Got back at Christmas time. My grandma passed away like 2 days later, so I went home for 10 days. Came back and just couldn't get back into it. So I was out of the lineup quite a bit, and we had some injuries to our defensive side of things, and I was like, I can play D as well. Put me in, and I played the rest of the year defense. So all 3 playoffs as well. Yeah. So I went, in our exit interviews, I was like, I want to go to D. I just want to play defense because it was easy. The transition was easy. Playing a forward, I knew where the puck needed to go. Things like that. Back then, there was still the old rules too. Like you could hook the guys trying to skate in on the forecheck. And then the following year, the rules switched. And the shootout came and all that stuff. So it was a bit different, yeah. My 20-year-old year, we had a really good team and came up short to Humboldt in Game 7. And they ended up winning, and I think the winner of that series either team would have won the league that year.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry. So I was just gonna ask about. I mean, your numbers in your 20 year were pretty good. Were you playing D that whole year?
No, I went back to forward that year.
You back? Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, our power play was disgusting. I think we got up to like a 37% at one point.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, that must have been unreal.
Oh god, yeah. I don't think it finished there, but I think we got up there, and we were high 30, mid to high 30s most of the year.
Wow.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah.
So how do you find your way to the ACHA back then?
Oh man, that was a ride. I had never had the conversation of like school was ever an option for me. Never planned it out or anything.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I was just playing hockey and figured junior A was it. And the first game of my 20-year-old year in the SJ, we're playing Flin Flon at home, and I spoke to Ferris State's head scout. They play against Michigan. I think they're in that conference.
Yeah.
And asked me all these questions. Like I can vividly remember the interview to this day because I've never had one like it before. Just what do my parents do? Where did my sister and brother go to school? It's like, why does it matter? I'm just here to play hockey kind of thing. So I took my SATs at 20 for the first time, like 3.5 years removed to high school. No calculator.
What'd you get on it?
I don't even know. all I know is at the SJHL showcase, that same guy was there talking to my coach, and I was 4 feet beside him, and he didn't even turn and look at me. So that avenue was pretty cut off. And then one of my best friends joined us that year. He's a goalie, and he played with myself and Poco as well. And we were talking about going to some schools, and he came across Utah Valley State. And then we met the coach and his wife, and we talked to them separately, and then we reconvened, and we're just like, there's no chance we're going to that school. We don't know what it is. And just the visual of the two of them, we were like, there's no chance. And an older friend of ours who, again, is a goalie, was playing at Lindenwood, and he reached out to my buddy Robbie, and he was like, you guys should come out here. And we spoke to the coach, and then the money that we had to spend was reasonable. So we just headed out there, and then, we went with another friend who was playing men's league the year before, but he played junior A, finished out junior B the year prior to that, and just had nowhere to play. And next thing you know, we were 4 years straight to the national finals and won twice.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think are you guys the leaders for national championships at the ACHA level, I think?
I believe so, yeah, which is crazy because the program started in like 2006, and there's I want to say like 50 something teams in that league, I guess you'd say. And now they're 3 years into NCAA Division I, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm sure looking back at that, since it was an ACHA program while you were there, and you see now they're playing D1 and guys are committing there. It's pretty incredible that you were part of that program. I also see that you actually ended up becoming the leading goal scorer of the ACHA team's history. What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, our team was my sophomore year. Our team was it was filled with guys from the North American League. We added a few BCHL players, and then our freshman class. So we were way too good for the league. And then our coach was Rick Zombo, who played 12 years for in the NHL, and he was a Blues alumni. So we played the Blues. We played the Blues alumni in a charity game, and they play local beer leagues just to stay prepared for their the alumni tournaments. Yeah. And he was like, "That's the best game we've ever played, like anytime." And he's like, "I want to be a part of it." He joined us the next year, and we were ran like a D1 program. We had him as a coach. That was, I'm playing the ACHA, and I had the best coach I've ever had in my life, and like best hockey mentor as well, just with all his knowledge and everything. Right. I think he played World Juniors in the 80s as well, and won a championship with North Dakota. So knowledgeable guy. And he just got released prior to this season. So he had been there from 2008 till last year.
Wow,
that's incredible. It sounds like you had a pretty unbelievable experience there. Joe, since you're playing ACHA now, Joe, do you have any more questions for him about all that before we move on to the next step?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't know if you knew that I was I'm in that levels now here.
Yeah, I remember. I think in your guys' first couple episodes, we talked about it. Where are you playing?
I'm playing at Drury.
Drury. Okay, yeah. What state is that in?
Excuse me, sorry.
You're
What's
good.
that? Sorry.
What state is that in?
Yeah, I'm in southern Missouri in Springfield here, so a little bit
Oh, okay.
little south of where you were.
Yeah, right on. Is that a newer
Yeah.
program?
Yeah, no, we're a first year program.
Right on.
And yeah, we just got ranked number 11
Nice.
this year.
Yeah.
So we got a whole bunch of Canadians down here. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of how Lindenwood was when I first got there. There was a ton of Canadians. I think we had 12 Canadians my first year, a mix from Ontario and BC. And the guy who started it was like a roller hockey coach, actually. And then he actually coaches like 15 different programs there, but now he's the golf coach.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, when we got there, we didn't know what to expect. We were ranked 8th, or no, we were ranked 10th at the time, and then we made the finals that year. Played Illinois, who I'm surprised hasn't made the jump to D1 yet. But with if the CHL thing goes through, I'm sure they'll be one of the programs that moves on to D1. But
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and then my freshman class went to 4 straight finals, won 2, and then the last one we lost in overtime.
That's hard to do if you don't know the way the tournament works.
Yeah.
Like the 5 games in 5 days type thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if it's still the same as when it was back then, but that's how it works now.
Yeah, so I want to say that when you were first and second seed, you got a bye in the first round.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong on that, but I think that's how it worked. Although we were ranked first going in the first year that we won, and I remember playing a team and we smoked them like 13-2. They just somehow got into it. Like, yeah, one of our guys
like
had
a
6 points.
low seed or whatever.
Yeah.
How many teams made it?
It was a 16-team tournament.
Oh, okay, yeah, and it's 25 now.
Oh, okay,
or 24 or something.
We must have played in every round then for sure.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But I just remember when we were there, Penn State was one of the first ACHA teams to make the jump. And
yeah.
There's like a 5-year wait list to play them at home, and we never got to play them. And and then they never made the finals, but they were probably one of the better teams in the country for sure.
I think they're I was looking at the list. I think they're second in championships. You guys were Lindenwood was first.
Oh wow. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think it's 6 or 8 finals that we've played in and 6 championships or 4 championships. 2 from
fair
us.
Enough. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I went back 2 summers ago for work actually, and I stayed with one of my old teammates that I played with all 4 years. And
nice.
Went to the new rink because we played a half hour away in a town called Wentzville, and a rink with seats on one side, probably fit like 300 people plus standing room. Now they got this unbelievable facility that the Blues practice at.
Yeah.
It also has an outdoor rink attached to it that's covered.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's 5 minutes from campus. It's right by the casino. It's like everything's way better now for
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I was gonna say your college experience. I mean, I'm trying kind of getting it right now, but how it treated you coming down to the States? Were you a little scared, crossing the border or what? Even back then?
I think I was more excited. I drove that year too. I wasn't excited about that. It was like a 34-hour drive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we did it in like 2-3.5 days. It was just really weird because, like I said, when I got to Melfort, there was a lot of guys there, and we were skating right away. We were kind of early and didn't know anyone, didn't know where to go. And they have this thing in Missouri. You might see it while you're there. It's like every 5 years, these bugs just fall from the sky, like locusts, I think they are. And they got like
are those the things that make all the noise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got these. They got these hard like shells, like a turtle, and they just drop out of the sky. And like we were walking around campus, and it started happening, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" Like we got back indoors, and we're like, "Let's get the hell out of here!" Like, what are we doing? Thankfully, we stayed. But so we got our first practice. It was hilarious. We get our coach leaves. the dressing room, and then our captain, who's like 26 at the time, he's like, "All right, boys, we're all going to the bar." And we're like, "Okay." But it's during the week, right? So, and then we all got class, and after like the next practice, our coach never tried to make us go to the gym ever again, because it's just like, he knew that our captain had us under his wing, and we were all going out. Like, it was every single day. So we're dominating the league. We're going out every single night. And it was just like, what a great life.
That is the life, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just not bringing in any income.
That's
So that's
awesome.
the only downfall.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Yeah.
You guys get very many fans or no?
On certain games that we would, for sure, like when Illinois would come, the band would come out.
Oh yeah.
And when we played big schools, kind of the same thing like that. And once you start to meet people in class and everything, they'd make the trip. Our first game against Illinois, my sophomore year, because they beat us in the finals, probably 900 to 1,000, maybe even 1,200 people just packed the house.
That's
I think it was
awesome.
the most fans that they've ever seen, and we got shelled 5-0. And then
went out too much that week.
Yeah, and then we would play an afternoon game the next night and beat them 5-1 in front of like 25 people. Yeah,
that's the worst. Yeah.
But I watched their before they made the jump. I watched their last national finals at the new rink, and it was pretty cool to see like that. It's bowl seating and everything. I think they had 3,500 or something, so it was pretty cool.
Nice.
To see.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Well, I mean, after your ACHA career, you made the jump to Australia. I always been very curious to ask you about this. How on earth did you end up there? Just the whole story of how that came to be and how it went there for you. I mean, I believe you led your team in scoring.
Yeah, call it a team. Yeah, so I was done playing after that, and we in Lindenwood we had a bunch of Swedes that signed, and they played on the Div 2 team, and I think 3 or 4 played on our team. And so I was just like, I kind of want to get back into it. So I reached out to one of the players, and it was for their third league, which at the time was Division 1, it's called, and for a team called Falou. So it was the off seasons, right? So I went out there. I actually called a team. It was just like, hey, I'm looking to play again, because I was trying to go play in Sweden the following season. And they were like, I just called them and sent my stats to the GM. I think I emailed actually. And then I got a call back. They were a first-year program the year prior, and the coach was from Ontario. So they were trying to get Canadians over, because they're only allowed 3 imports a season. But if you stay there for a certain amount of time, like 3 to 5 years, then you become like a local, and then they could bring in more imports.
Okay.
So I didn't really know what to expect. I heard about the league from people at the time. I was just looking to get out of my house and go play hockey again. And they accepted it. I was probably 20 pounds overweight. And I luckily got there 7 weeks prior to the season starting, so I was able to train with the team. But yeah, in Melbourne, they have the nicest rink in the league. It seats only on one side, but probably 3,000 to 3,500, and there's 2 teams there. The other team's the Melbourne. Yeah, the other team's the Melbourne Ice.
Great.
Yeah,
For Australia.
yeah. And Doug Wilson at the time was like in the ownership, and he was the GM of the Sharks at the time. And his kid played there. And the Melbourne Ice have been in. Yeah, the Melbourne Ice have been in the program for a while, so they had done that where they had 3 or 4 Canadian and U.S. college-born guys that were regulars, I guess you call, or I don't know what the word is, but they were considered Australians for the league.
Right.
So
Right.
they were way better than us, but it was pretty cool when we played them. The games would be on TV, and like the news would come out. And
that's cool.
yeah, they had line up out the door like while you're getting dressed, and you go from warm-ups to the game. There's no ice clean in between, so you're warming up in front of 3,500 people. And
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, one side's blue with Melbourne Ice jerseys on. The other side, half the fans are black and orange with Mustangs, and yeah, it was pretty cool. The first game of the season was the best one. We played them and went to a shootout. It was a pretty wild game, but Australia they're way better now. I'm actually coaching a kid here on the island who is his coach right now in Australia. I played against, so I know him through that.
Yeah.
It's funny how that turns around. But now, like guys on the Mustangs, they're set up in a hotel that's basically like an apartment. Like the rooms have full kitchens, full suites, and everything. Where we lived in a rancher 30 minutes away. And it's just like we look more like a shed to the house beside us. So things always change after I get there. So maybe I'm the good luck charm for the future. But the cool thing about that was you had to travel a lot, and the Virgin Airlines sponsors the league, so you fly everywhere.
Oh, that's nice.
That's like a pretty sweet deal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I think a lot of guys that play in like the CHL Central League and like the SPHL go there in the off season because they'll set you up with a job at the rink or find you like a bartending job, and then set you up with whatever their deals are through the team. Just depends on who has money or not. But yeah,
Right.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, our team wasn't very good, but at the end of the day, it was a free trip to Australia and got to see.
Sounds like fun, dude.
Probably a place I'd never go to on my own before. Now I would. I'd love to go back and visit just because you have a lot of sponsorships. They're all invested in the team and they're just so interested in you. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That was one of my sorry. That was one of my questions was the support, but it seems like everyone really cared about you guys, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like connected to the rink is it's called the Groove Train. It was one of our big restaurant sponsors, so we'd go there after the games, interact with fans and stuff, and then
that's cool.
Yeah, I believe their biggest sponsor is still there. It's called Moat, and he does mental health. He has a mental health company where, and he was my main sponsor because every player gets sponsored individually as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I got really close with their family and hit their kids at the time when they were young and just like went for dinners and went to their house and stuff and hung out. So it was really cool.
Sweet. Well, man, after that, eventually you end up transitioning to coaching. So how did your coaching career kind of begin? Is it always something that you kind of saw yourself doing, and then how did you get started, and then kind of get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so my first job was actually. Did you guys ever go to Puck Masters in Port Coquitlam?
I don't think so.
No, I've heard of.
Is it still around? Too,
it's gone now. I think Puck Masters, the company's still around, but the one in Poco, it was there for quite some time. Is it an industrial area like the plastic ice? It was like 1-on-1 and 2-on-1 sessions. So,
yeah.
So you're just there and you're working on like shooting and things like that, puck handling. So that was my first coaching job and experience. And then we would do like on ice stuff as well. And then after I was done playing, I would just help other buddies that were coaching with their teams and stuff if I had the time. I never really thought of coaching as an option. Then I moved to Fort St. John. Actually, I went and played. I didn't move there to play senior men's hockey, but I moved there for work and then I played senior men's there as well.
Yeah.
So I went from 4 years without playing contact hockey to getting hit again in my 30s, that was a good experience in itself. So yeah, when I moved back from there, I started working with Derek Popke at Vancouver Hockey School, skills development. And he works with Vancouver T-Birds Association. So it just kind of started there. And then I got on with the Kings spring program with Chris Helm and all those guys.
Storty.
Troy, yeah. Wes McLeod, all the boys there.
Yeah.
So that's really where my coach. Yeah, that's where my coaching really started. And then COVID kind of hit. So that season I didn't continue with it. Not that I was scared or anything, but just wasn't good timing for it. And then I got back into it next year, got into with Maple Ridge minor hockey, U18 A2 team. Was supposed to be the assistant coach, and then the head coach, he's from Langley, got offered his younger kids team at the time, and he kind of pulled shoot at the end of camp. So I transitioned from assistant coach to head coach. First year head coach, no assistants because I was supposed to be it. U18, A2. So that was that was fun. Definitely a challenge. They're like, "Oh, are you going to be okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it can't be that hard to run the bench." And sure enough, it's really hard to run the bench, no matter what level. I think especially at that level, just because kids are so emotional, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
But then, I went to U15 A2 from there, and thankfully had an assistant coach I brought in, and continued on with the Kings that spring. And then, I got a call from Dickie, who I didn't even know at the time. Chris Helmet put a word in for me, and he had taken over with Mission. And next thing you know, he was hyping me up. He's like, "Yeah, I know you're this great hockey guy." I was like, "Hey, I'll take it." I don't know if it's true or not, but sure, it sounds like a fun idea. So let's do it. And then that ID camp in May was like 2 weeks later, and that whole weekend we just got to know each other really well. And Dickie, he's easy to become friends with really quick. So
Yeah,
for sure.
So 4 years.
Sorry.
I was gonna say 4 years. You're from A2 U18 to junior B head coach or junior A head coach. Sorry. It's pretty crazy. So no, go ahead.
Yeah, so things kind of just fell in line, and been very fortunate for the opportunities from just even the U18 team. So
it's awesome.
Well, obviously, your first year with Mission last year, we had pretty low expectations going in, ended up making the playoffs. And just how was that experience for you? I mean, making the jump to coaching junior, and what was it like getting to just interact with kids that age again? And how was your whole experience for your first year in Mission?
Yeah, I was excited about it just because being back at that junior level, right? Knowing that you guys all have come up through the system, whether it was minor hockey or if it was through like zone and stuff. So I knew like everyone's going to be at a high level, even though, I mean, with that team, Dickie had to restructure it from basically the ground up. You guys, what was it, like 8 20-year-olds you lost the year before?
I think there was like 12.
12, right? And then
insane.
And then two to four guys that were still in the league that could have came back, and they moved on to different teams, right? So from there it was just like, okay, we'll see. And then I remember those skates in Abbotsford, and I was introducing Wakey Wakey to you guys, and you could not grasp it.
No.
Sitting on one knee. I was like, we're gonna get him there for sure. But
we got there.
At the end of the day, it's all about the kids and stuff. And like, it was whether our expectations to be successful were low or high, you guys are a great group, right? So getting to know you guys and work with you, especially at the beginning, you guys made it super easy just to feel comfortable. Even though I might have played at the level, coaching and coming back after all these years, things change every year in hockey. So I'll give a lot of props to you guys just for being the guys that you were. That definitely helped a lot. You guys could not have gave us a good reception at all and didn't want to even work with us, right? Just because of the way the last year went and everything. So I think everyone that was there still was open to it, and you guys were good leaders that were the vets. It took a couple of months to get you a couple more though, but we got you there.
Yeah, we got him. Yeah,
I'm
glad we got them. But and then so now assistant coach last year, you get the opportunity now this year in Kerry Park on the island. So how does this opportunity come about for you to move obviously to Kerry Park and become the head coach there?
Yeah, so I didn't know Brandon Cox either, other than his name. And then we met. He would come to our games, living in Mission. So met him a few times, and then it was in the off season. And the coach I was here previous had some personal things that he had to deal with. His wife and kids live in Sweden and some stuff here, so he had to step away this year. Okay. And then I got a call from Brandon about the opportunity, and he gave me a couple of days to think about it. And I was like, yeah, for sure. It sounds awesome. Like, how can if I put myself in the position of wanting to be here and advance my coaching career. So it's a good step really early on. Maybe a little too early, but we'll find out. Only time will tell. But yeah, and then the coach from last year, I mean, he's 20 years experience in Europe and North America, played the game forever. So it's like, these are some shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got to meet him at our main camp, and he's been a tremendous help this year for me. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the team's looking pretty good so far. Maybe a bit of a slow start, but things are looking really good right now. So
yeah,
been like, living in Kerry Park and getting to coach this team. And how's the just first start of the season been so far?
Yeah, it's been crazy, especially the last 12 games going 10-1-1. It's a pretty special run.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. We don't have an easy schedule right now too. We're playing a lot of the top teams and we're in games that could go either way, and we're coming out on top, which is great. So Kerry Park plays at a Mill Bay, and I actually live in Langford. So Langford is down 20 minutes down the hill. But it's Mill Bay is a nice small city. Used to like in Saskatchewan. The boys love coming to the rink. They got the dressing room, which is cool because we didn't have that last year. I got my own office in the room, which is nice.
Nice.
So spend a lot of time in there just watching tape and film and stuff like that. Definitely a lot more work that I have to do this year than last year. But it's been, I always look at it. At the end of the day, it's hockey. You can't be, it's not really that hard. It's hard, but it's not hard. It's not hard to get up for,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of additions recently. Max Carlson, a D-man, and then Joby Pearson, who's from North Vancouver.
Yeah.
Came down from Junior A. And they've just been great additions to our team. Our top line right now in the 9 games that Joby's been there, I think they have 7 combined for 74 points. Yeah, and the 2 other players since he's been there, they're now 1 and 2 in scoring, and he's tied for 7th in 9 games, I think.
Yeah,
I saw that he's
that's Carson Brown, and is it Morrison?
Jacob Morrison, yeah.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah.
I think we talked about that, Owen.
We've been talking about Brown. We've been talking about Brown all year, and then obviously we just recently, I think, mentioned Pearson and Morrison last episode. But yeah, their numbers
out of nowhere.
When Joby came, all of a sudden they're the West Coast Express line of Bertuzzi, Naslin, Morrison. It's because you get to be a productive goal scorer or point scorer in hockey. There's a certain player that you have to be, and all 3 of them have every attribute that you need. And Joby's just a man amongst boys out there. Guys are hitting him, and you don't even know, they're just bouncing off him. And then Morrison's got great vision and great hands around the net. And then Carson Brown is just his offensive ability. And the thing about those guys too is they're also back checking and getting in the D zone. So that's huge for our younger guys, because we do have a lot of younger guys. So when they see those 3 guys playing at both ends of the ice, it definitely translates to everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear.
Can I tell a quick story about Jelly?
Yeah, do it.
Please.
I just want to hear it.
Do you remember the shootout winner he had in Abbotsford?
Yeah.
So we're in overtime. It's 3-on-3. Obviously, Ellie's on the ice.
Yeah.
We're better than Abbotsford, but we're just in one of those games where we didn't play well enough and kept them in it. So I'm just on the bench letting Ellie know that there's a player behind him that plays up at the blue line in our zone. And I was like, Ellie, watch behind you. He looks at me, middle of the play, and just says, "Shut the fuck up." And I was like, Jesus, what the hell? Comes off the ice. I'm like, Ellie, you ever talk like that to me again? I swear to God. He's like, okay. Goes back out there. Overtime plays out, and he scores the winner. So we're all happy. Everything's good. I'm like, what did you think I said to you? He's like, I don't know. I thought you were chirping me or something. I'm like, no, I'm just letting you know that there's a guy behind you to get into position. And he's like, sorry, coach, I'll never do it again. I was like, no, man, I want you to do that. I'm like, whatever got you fired up that quick, bring it to the beginning of the game.
What do you think
But-
he said, Owen?
I don't know, dude. Like, I still to this day, I can't really tell you what happened. I don't know what made me snap like that, but I think I was just so pissed in that situation in the game. And
Yeah.
I was just so rattled already that I just heard someone shouting from the bench and just snap. But I'm glad it ended up working out. And
Yeah,
I was I felt pretty bad after, but
It wasn't
Yeah,
even
fair
what
enough.
you said though. It was just the fact that you paused mid play, looked at me. So you had all this time in the world to do it.
And you got
Yeah.
sent to the
Yeah.
shootout again.
Yeah. He was a shootout
Yeah.
specialist coming down the side wing there.
No, he's not. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
I
I'll
think
tell
I
him
was-
that.
yeah, I was over 50% in my career. I think I was like 4 or 5. I think it was like 5 for 8 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
I'm
did the
impressed.
same move all 8 times too. Like same thing.
But I give you and I got to give you props for that playoff series, obviously too. This guy's sucking essential oils out of a hot water cup and
Oh yeah,
coming
I
on the
felt
bench.
bad, man.
Yeah, head buried in the wall. Then you got then you got someone complaining about a slash on their arm mid game, and you're just like, look at your captain right now.
Yeah, come on.
that
Well-
was certainly a grind. But yeah.
I got nothing else here for the interview. If you want to keep her going.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll just finish up. I mean, I was gonna ask if you had any stories to tell, but I think that covers it pretty good.
Covers it, eh?
So just finally, what are your expectations and your goals for the future here before we wrap this up?
For myself or for Kerry Park?
Both actually.
Both, yeah. Obviously, like these guys played in the finals last year. There's a lot of turnover, but there's enough guys to bring that want to get back there and to show these young guys too what it takes, and that's really the goal right now. Like you said, we had a bit of a slow start, but now we're climbing up and we're separating from Victoria and Saanich are, I think 8 and 14 points below us. So, hopefully we don't run into them at all. But now the plan is to try to win our division and try to win the league and keep on rolling the way that we are. And hopefully we can make a good push and run in the playoffs. And then, kind of go from there. And for myself, for coaching, I'm just living in the moment right now. I'm happy being here and it's great. And, there's still so much to learn. Like I said, their coach from last year, he's been great for me. He's actually come on the ice a couple of times too. So, I always tell young players, like, even if you're a 19, 20-year-old 4-year player in the league, like you never stop learning things about the game. Like you guys play, the game that you guys play now is 1,000 times different than when I played, right? So just being on the ice with you guys and watching how you do drills and how you move and things like that, and it's all different, and I learn things from that and try to relate from my experience. So I just want to take it all in when I'm at the rink and doing stuff, watching video at home or whatnot, and just continue to learn and see how far it can go and how much more knowledge I can gain through it all.
That's awesome, man.
Wow, that's a pretty great answer. Yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Then, thank you so much for doing this interview. I think this is probably our longest interview we've done, to be honest. So sorry for keeping
I predicted
you so long.
this though. I predicted this though with the coaching, the playing career.
Joe actually said
couple different avenues to talk about. Well, and then you with the ACHL, I wish we could have touched a bit more on your experience a bit, but maybe next time.
Well, I've only been here for what, 3 months now? Fuck, it's November.
Next time for sure.
It goes by quick.
It does go by quick because pretty soon you'll be home for
quick.
Christmas, and then next thing you know, nationals are in February, March. So.
Yep. Then it's over.
And then it's over.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 months at school with no hockey and going bowling.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's a good time because the weather gets nice there. And are you close to St. Louis? Can you go to like a Cardinals game when when baseball starts?
I'm in Springfield, so we got our the AA teams there. It's like in between Kansas City and St. Louis.
Right.
It's like down here.
Right.
So
I'd rip up to Kansas City, go check a Chiefs game.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. It's expensive though.
You're gonna try and do that. Yeah.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
But
that was actually the coolest part of my trip my drive to St. Louis is you get into Kansas City and you get to this overpass, and then all of a sudden you're looking right into the Royal Stadium.
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
it's
that's
pretty
sweet.
cool to see that. Yeah, you
That's
like
cool.
looking right above like home plate. So that was cool.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing this interview. We really appreciate it, your time and your answers, and obviously, thank you so much for everything you did for me as well as a coach, for putting up with me and the rest of the boys, and super excited to keep watching what you do and what your team does this year. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and same to you, Ellie. Thank you for everything you did last year as a player and as a leader of that team. It was great to see, and I'll be checking in your guys' podcast and seeing how things go. And good luck to you and Drury
Awesome.
there.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys. Have a good night.